Hello everybody. Today we're going off on a little bit of a tangent. We are going to look at Lazarus IDE and Free Pascal. I've installed it very recently in the last few days, and basically I do not have really anything new installed into it. I may have, I think, an extension to allow me to have all the windows docked like this, and that's because, well, that's really what I like. I know there is an extension to have dark mode, but that only operates in the code window, and that to me doesn't look quite right. So what we're looking really at here are my first impressions of this implementation, say, of Object Pascal and the associated IDE. Remember, these are just my thoughts there, neither criticisms nor they're just my observations really. So let's start, shall we? So first of all, I've noticed that the appearance-wise, when it was first installed, was very much like Delphi 7, where you have the components up the top here, as opposed to only being on the right-hand side here, as per the latest Delphi. That's not a big thing, but it does just take me back. Just gives me memories of my past, shall we say. The toolbars here also are quite reminiscent, as with the components inspector and properties here. On the right hand side with the code explorer and components, that is somewhat new for me. I like it when you do have multiple classes in the code window. What are my first immediate thoughts here? I can't zoom in, but so I'm going to have to modify the font size if I did want to make things visible here. And out of the box, I'm going to say what I did want to do was to, let's say, do something that was a little bit more than a hello world. So what I decided to do was to write a program which would connect to the news API, and to do that we would need a API key to access that. So initial thoughts: it's white, it's usable. I prefer dark. It does reminisce a little bit of old, but they are merely cosmetic thoughts. Probably the one thing which took me back to the old style of Pascal development is the having to put all my declarations up into this declaration block here between the procedure and the begin statement, whereas I was more used to having the option of declaring them within in the code section. And by the way, if anything that I do say here is incorrect, or there are ways I can make things easier for myself in this environment, please let me know. It would enhance my experience in using this IDE, and and allow me to do more videos with it. One of the things I did notice was that when I was writing code, it wanted to put the assignment right next to the previous variable, whereas I like to have one space. It's only a minor code formatting thing, and there may be an option somewhere in the project settings where I can set this, and if there is, and you can let me know, that would be great. As far as working out where certain parts or what components are visible. I don't believe there is a HTTP client in here, but we're going to find out. We've got an HTTP data provider, but some reason even though, let's say, I can use this Free Pascal HTTP client can be used, I had to search the internet for that. I'm not certain yet whether or not whether there is a component option for that, but let's just say, if I'm using this for the very first time, I'm not really quite sure of what's available to me or not without having to just wander through the code and look at it. I do, however, like the fact that I can go somewhere like here, and I do have a find declaration, and it does take me straight to that. That I think is cool. Now we are coming to a part which is, I'm not quite sure who will be right or wrong about this, or there really is no right or wrong, to be honest, but having the capitalizing the first letter of keywords or like class and property is something that I am not really used to again. I guess the other part here is that, what do we have here, is the use of the space before and after the declaration, before and after a parameter, after the colon. That's something else. Look, these are just little things that I'm not used to, shall we say, but we'll work it out and get used to that. I do like the fact that, if you can look at the hint here, that it will tell me the unit in which the type comes from. So in this instance here, the socket handler is part of the FP HTTP client. That's nice. I like that. So there is a lot to go for the IDE. It's, like I said, just a few. It's getting used to the environment, I would say. Now, so what I thought I would do, like I said, was to write a program to connect to a news API and to retrieve the top news items. So the program here is quite small, a bit bigger than a Hello World type program. I did have to look around and go into the source code to work out what I could or couldn't do. Some of the stuff looks very, very similar to the Delphi code, where you can do something like, a memo lines text equals a data string. So, coming from that space, that's good. Or, yeah. I could also look at just to work out what my responses were that were coming back. I can look at the comma text. So it's just wrapping my head around a different syntax, really. The other part of it, it did take a little bit to get used to having to just click on an item on the component palette and to then click on the form to put that item there, versus using a drag and drop as per Delphi. The next thing was to do with the breakpoints. When I was testing my program out, I had a breakpoint in some code that wasn't being used, and I think my program chucked us back at that. So we're going to test it out right now, actually. Run build. This is a bit of code here that wasn't used. I'm still trying to work out how to do the decompressor stream. I'm getting a few more messages out now, which is good. Sometimes before, when I knew it was compiling, it was just taking a bit longer than I expected, and I didn't really know what was happening. Now we will run the program here and we'll wait. Here we go. So we get a debugger error, and that's because of a breakpoint. So I'll hit the OK button, and I can see that down below there. So what that's really saying is that I have got some code where it can't set it, which is not being included, and it can't set a breakpoint. So it's going, I don't like you. So now we'll take the breakpoint out, and we'll just hang on. We will stop that program first, and now we can run it. No warning. We'll hit the button again. I could probably set it to an hourglass here, just so I knew the program was doing something. That's the other part here. 401. What's happening here? Aha, I'm missing my key, that's why. I'll have to put that back in, I think. Nope. I'll worry about that later. I've taken the key out of my program, but that's why I'm not seeing anything. So I guess the things I'd like to look at next would be how to install a package, whether that is something like Indie or their skier components or something of that nature, so I can see how to work that part out. I would like to know how I can find a project explorer like I might have in Delphi. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't exist. It would be nice if from there if I could get to a if I had a project explorer, I could possibly get to a command prompt in the folder. There may be some options there to get a little bit more feedback when building the program. So this is like I said, this is just my first look. I'll be playing with it some more, and I'm sure that give me a little bit of time, I will get used to it and be able to do more with it. I did, like I said, one thing I was trying last night was to play with I was just checking out say how to decompress something from a website, because some of the stuff does use the new compression type BR, and I couldn't find much in the Pascal realm there. But look, these are just things which I will just have to spend some time looking for. So I'm going to say it's a reasonable start for me here, learning this new environment. I feel a little bit how shall I put this? The look and feel is slightly dated, but certainly not in terms of the functionality of the compiler. I know there are options for customization. I am aware that you could also use VS Code. I'm aware that that it does have you can use things like Qt, and there are a whole bunch of components that work with Free Pascal. If there's any of those things which you'd like me to look at, please let me know, and please don't forget to like my video. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, because it really helps my channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you and bye.